After speaking with thousands of people rehabbing their ACLs, everybody says the same thing. I just want to get back to my sports, my life, and be stronger than before. So what does this actually mean? Most people think about strength. And yes, strength matters. But there's a clear difference in being strong in the gym and feeling athletic again when it comes to running, jumping, or playing sports. And that difference is what I want to break down in this video. So by the end of this, you will learn why many people feel strong in the gym but never fully feel confident in the field or whatever sport activities they're playing. And the two principles that I use with my clients to rebuild that athleticism and confidence again. Hi, my name is Josh Irwanto. I've been a physical therapist and ACL rehab specialist for over 12 years. In this time, I've helped hundreds of people rehabbing their ACLs and fully get back to their sports and running with confidence. So let's dive into the video. The first thing you need to understand is this. Being strong in the gym and your rehab exercises does not mean you'll be ready for sports. Think about the sport that you want to get back to. So let's take tennis, for example. In tennis, you have scenarios where you can't plan what you're about to do. Sports is naturally chaotic and unpredictable. You'll have to react, you have to change directions, you probably have to accelerate, decelerate, pivot, twist, and you have to make decisions in real time, very quickly. Now, in contrast, think about the exercises that we do in the gym. They help us get stronger, they build range of motion, they build the strength in your knees, but you can see there's a huge gap between the exercises in the gym and the sport movements that you want to get back to. In the gym, we know exactly how many reps to do, what the weight is, and what it's going to look like. In sports, we often have to deal with opponents, teammates, the unpredictability of the ball or whatever object that you're using. So at some point in your ACL rehab, we have to take that strength that you've been building and express that differently in the later stages of rehab. And this is where a lot of ACL programs fall short. They help you get back to daily activities, they may make you feel stronger, but they don't prepare you for running and sports. To understand why, let's take a look at this graph. This is called the force velocity curve. On the far left, you have maximum strength. So think about the heaviest amount of weight that you can do. Let's take a squat, for example. Think about a power lifter who's doing a 1 rep max. Likely that person is going to move that weight very slowly to produce the maximum amount of force. In contrast, on the right, we have very fast athletic movements. So think like a 100-meter sprint, very explosive, very fast, right? You're not moving any weight, right, except your body weight, but you're expressing that force very quickly. Now, here's the problem. Most ACL rehab exercises fall somewhere in the middle. And the problem with the middle, if you stay there for too long, you'll never actually advance to the next stage. Let's think of some of the exercises you've been doing. Maybe you're doing 8 to 15 reps of split squats, lunges, step-ups, glute bridges, leg extensions. And while those are all great exercises, at some point you're going to need to express those forces differently because the goals of running and sports require you to produce these forces much quicker. And if you never train that need to produce force quickly, you might feel strong in the gym, but continue to feel slow, stiff, and not confident when it comes to sports. Now, the next question you're probably thinking is, when can you start these type of work? Now, I can't speak for everybody. Again, ACL rehab is different and unique to every situation, but generally the clients that I work with, I like to see this start at maybe 5 months or 6 months post-op. But of course, if you are later than 6 months post-op, you can start this later on as well. But the timeline is not the most important part. What matters is whether your knee is actually ready to do it. So before you start adding random jumps, sprints, and explosive work, we first need to make sure these 3 foundations are set in place. So number 1 is full knee extension. Number 2 is minimal to no swelling. And number 3, you've been cleared to jog or run with no pain. Once those foundations are checked off, then you can start adding power and speed work. So here are the 2 principles you need to start rebuilding the athleticism. Number 1 is lower the weight and move quickly. Sounds simple, right? Think about that graph that I showed you earlier. If we want to move to the right side of the curve, then we have to reduce the load and increase the intent, or the speed at which you do it. This means not every exercise should be heavy and slow. Now, a lot of people get nervous when they start lowering the weight because they think that's not going to make them stronger. But remember, the goal is not to increase max strength. The goal here is to increase velocity, speed, and athleticism. For example, let's take a split squat. You can perform a split squat with heavy weights to build strength. This usually happens in the earlier phases of your rehab. But you can also take that same exercise, reduce the weight, and move at a faster speed. This is going to help you develop that power and explosiveness. The same exact exercise, but a different goal. And you can take the same principle to a lot of different exercises, but moving faster is only one part of it. So the second principle I want to teach you is external cues over internal cues. Now, what the heck are cues? Cues are the things that you think about when you're doing an exercise. What are you focusing on when you're doing the exercise? An internal cue would be something like this. Straighten out the knee. Squeeze your quads. Think about your knee position. These cues have been shown to be useful earlier in rehab, when you're starting to walk or regain your life again. But when we want to build power and athleticism, we want to shift towards external cues. Now, external cues could be something like looking at the ceiling, or attack the ground, or land quietly. There's good research to show that focusing on external cues will help us produce that movement more naturally. But if we overthink about the internal cues and overthink every single movement, we tend to disrupt the natural part of it. And this matters because in sports, you don't have time to overthink. You're gonna have to react really fast. Now, just like anything in rehab, this is gonna take time. You're not gonna notice significant changes in 1 or 2 sessions. Give yourself at least 8 weeks of consistent power training to see noticeable changes. I recommend tracking your progress using apps like My Jump Lab to see if there's any changes in your power, your jump height, and other metrics. But even without testing, you'll start to feel the difference. Overall, you'll feel more athletic, you'll feel more confident in your knee, your landing gets more confident, and you'll just start to trust your knee again. And this is where the whole thing comes together, when the rehab starts to shift away from just slow strength exercises into actually athletic movements that matter to you. So quick example, I've used the same principles on one of my clients, Peter. We started working together when he was 1 year post-op. He did a great job on his rehab. He got back to his daily life as an active dad, but that wasn't enough for him because he wanted to play basketball, he wanted to feel athletic again like he was in his 20s. So when we started working together, we applied the same 2 principles that I taught you to help rebuild that athleticism. So we didn't chase more strength. We chased power and explosiveness. We started teaching his knee how to express that force quickly with more effort, more intent, and just overall more athleticism. Now, after 3 months of working together, he was able to play basketball again without overthinking every step. This is why I always tell people after ACL surgery that strength is the foundation, but athleticism is the bridge to get you back to sports. So if you're feeling stronger in the gym, but you're still feeling hesitant, slow, and unsure about sport movements, it likely means you don't need more exercises. You probably need the right progressions, the right structure. One that takes your strength that you've been building and expressing it differently for power and athleticism. For more of the exact approach that I use with my clients, I made a free video training that I'll link in the description below. Feel free to check it out. And if you want to learn more about plyometrics and power movements, I made a 4-part series on YouTube that I will also link in the description below. I hope you found today's video helpful. Would appreciate you liking and subscribing. I'll talk to you in the next one.